was a smell of sweet maple syrup and smoky meat. It was a smell of warmth and commotion, a never-sleeping unrest. It was a smell of people, perfume, community, and rustic memories that coaxed me out of my home on even the gloomiest of days. It was magnetic, a north star of sorts, pulling my heart and feet up from the place they had rooted. Whether the journey is thwarted by acid rain or hurdles of snowbanks or the searing rays of Helios, my heart will always choose the 10-minute walk to the main street in my Markham hometown over all else. This quaint but bustling street is always dressed in twinkling lights and decorated with stores of multicolored roofs, speckled with age, like a quail's egg waiting to hatch. Everywhere you look, there's something beautiful, a dazzle of fractured color here and a litter of flowers there. The sidewalks are filled with delectable Italian, Chinese, Greek, and Indian food, and just when you think your stomach has swallowed all the goodness the world has possibly had to offer, there's a shop right around the corner serving homemade gelatos and cheesecakes, mochi and tea. Rest assured you will get lured in by the sweet smells of butter and sugar, and perhaps a note of cinnamon once in a while. The street is also not foreign to its fair share of curious, courageous travelers, lovely ladies wearing floral dresses and the most eclectic hats. Dogs of all shapes and sizes, children smiling bright, chip-toothed, lathered in sunscreen. Their accents show that they're from all over the globe, and yet the fair way they greet each other buries all their differences. With such welcoming strangers, you almost feel a surge of freedom. Freedom from judgment, from the pressures of school, from your habitual identity. Here, starting where the cement crosswalks morph into pebbled tiles, time seems to halt for me to catch up. I'm a child again, digging in a 3-kilometer sandbox, endeavoring to discover hidden treasures and excavate roots and unearth secrets. For me, as a regular visitor, Main Street is like the granny you love to visit in the retirement home. She'd usher me in and tell me how she'd been waiting for me to appear. Charmed by the company, the more we talked, the more watchful, and the more ageless, and the more youthful she became. There was a period in my life where Main Street truly became not much to look at, not much to cherish, with its modest houses and unremarkable boutiques. But for the people who I brought here, it was everything. For the people I brought here, I showed them what I loved about it, all of its hidden glories, and they grew to love it too. For the people I brought here, I showed them the things you couldn't see, at least not clearly. I unwound hard exteriors and disarmed jagged countenance, and just like that, Main Street is a place for others. We wondered about the people that inhabited homes here, people whose lives are so closely bound to the fate that they were predestined to live here from the moment they were born. We wondered if we had ever met these people before, would shake their hands and be invited in. Where would we find ourselves? In a small living room with slanted walls and dormer windows, armchairs and lumpy sofas upholstered in dusty brocades, threadbare at the arms, rose patterns on tan, acorns and oak leaves on mossy green. Would everything be tattered and untidy or grand, with windows and halls so unexpectedly large that they posed a question to you every time you passed? We wondered where the people riding the train were going and why no one ever stopped to get out at the station. I wondered if I would ever ride this train, where I would be going, and who would greet me when I'm back. On the many instances I returned here accompanied, we came after school. Was it September or maybe November? Our hairs glinting in the drowsy autumn sun, the houses stood basking, silent, soaking in wavering yellow pools, rich, intoxicating, blanketed in a ferocious coat of yellow, red, and orange leaves. Mundane and magical. Other times we came in the middle of the day, one of the last summery days we had that year, a brilliant Saturday. The sun filtered through my eyelids, a bright, painful red, legs prickled with heat, face flushed, a blotchy pink. We sought shelter in breezy, air-conditioned ice cream shops and the newly renovated fire hall. At August sunset, we walked to the nearby pond and crossed the bridge, etching initials into its damp mossy wood. The water near the bank was clear, pale green. Cool misty air blew over our ankles, and the pebbles at the bottom were dappled in sunlight. But the winter is when Main Street blazes and comes alive, giggling with cherub cheeks with its admirers. At night, when the snowflakes fall and everyone is bundled tight, strings of Christmas lights and plastic holly hang above neon beer lights. Glass-stained windows are laced with frost and blurry with silhouettes of people. Men in flannel shirts and women in puffer jackets and furry boots. Children zip tight in a wrap of multicolored scarves. The occasional icy jabs of wind blew a thin, powdery dusting of snow, revealing a pair of perfectly stenciled footprints in a cobblestone path, my own, and another bigger one. Holding on to icy rails and each other, we walked until our hands warmed up and our breath became one, simply admiring the beauty of this night and this place. My place. At Main Street, these quiet moments became a shared secret between us. It was always a pity that time never stood still anywhere else, but somehow we were able to trap it here, like a snow globe, suspended upside down in midair. And just when they thought almost all had been seen and the night was almost over, I showed them more. Where the best place to see the setting sun through the trees were, the train tracks where I sat and people watched, the most magically painted houses, the trails that glossed over in ice during the winters, and the best items on the menus of restaurants I love. Reminiscing on these memories causes a faint ache in my chest now, one a doctor will never be able to identify. Memories of when the sun was low, burning gold through the trees, casting two shadows before us on the ground, long and distorted. I love Main Street best for the memories of two walking for a long time without saying anything, listening to far-off conversations, the air musty from the oar of strangers. There was no noise close to us other than the crunch of our shoes on the gravel path and the whistle of wind in the pines. In solace, these shared experiences are ones that I will miss when I leave home for another branch of life. There are many things we tend to lay awake at night thinking about. Love interests, dreams of success, and chance encounters. But for me, these trips to the place I've known since I was a child who could save log memories take the cake above all else. Treading the unknown territories the street had to offer, discovering the nooks and crannies of its most beautiful yet hidden areas, and meeting people whose life experiences can only be shared in foreign languages, this is my recurring dream. And only in these dreams can I try to preserve these memories of fondness and care. Yes, Paris is the city of love, but I'd argue that those who say that have never been here before. In the same way that I've watched this street rebuild itself, it too has watched me grow, meet and leave people, cry and laugh, walk and run. The very colors of this place have seeped into my blood. On Main Street, I've always been able to wholeheartedly immerse myself in the same joys I felt the first time I stumbled upon this destination without the guilt of wasting time. It's a second home, one that I can return to any time, and yet upon my every return, there is always something new awaiting me. Saying goodbye to Main Street is saying goodbye to summers and winters, gentle people who have occupied my time and my company. Saying goodbye to Main Street is saying goodbye to my youth in Canada. Saying goodbye to Main Street is saying goodbye to all the moments I spent with you. Saying goodbye to all the memories of when I felt truly free and loved. I've never said a goodbye quite like this one. Nor do I want to.